Hi, thanks for listening to our podcast. This is Mike from Mike and Mike on Mike, aka Mammon. And this is just a quick apology about sound quality.
So when we're editing this, we realised that the sound quality wasn't 100% great. So we have since gone out and brought some new microphones. So as of episode 2, it does get a lot better. But we do apologise for the quality in this episode that you're about to listen to now.
And like we said, we promise the sound does get better.
Yeah.
Happy listening, and we hope that you carry on this journey with us.
Enjoy.
Have we even caught the name yet?
Mammon.
Mike and Mike. Are we sticking with
Mike and I love it. Like, at the end of the day, this is what got the idea for us to do this. So, Mammon.
With my sort of Alan Partridge.
We can, cut to you suddenly just the voice recording. I'll put it in.
Podcast idea number 1. Mammon, Mike and Mike on Mike.
I'll do weekly ones like that where I'll be like, new TV idea, digging holes.
Mike's musings. I like it.
Should I try and come up with those once a week?
Yeah, I like that. I wish I was quick enough to think of some. Right.
No.
I don't know how to get started with this. Obviously, it'll be this classic thing being like, oh, we'll just edit all this out at the beginning. And chances are most of this will end up in the beginning intro.
Well, I mean, let's start with what we are. We are Mammon, which is Mike and Mike on Mike, which is funny because we're both called Mike. Which actually brings me to my first thought.
Mike's musings.
Do you call me Mike?
I do call you
Michael?
Mike. I call you Mike.
I call you Mike. Is that going to be... Is that going to be frustrating?
But what's weird is our other halves both call us Michael.
Yeah. What about, are our two fans going to get confused, though, in the future and be like,
I know.
Oh, Mike, which Mike?
I know, because they'll be referring to us as Michael, because it's going to be our other halves.
Our other halves aren't going to watch this. They'll watch the first one to be polite.
Lauren's claiming already that it's going to be the one bit of social media she's going to post of sharing this podcast on there. And I'm saying that with a baby on the way in a couple of weeks.
That's a wife that loves you. That's a supportive.
Yeah, that is the support that we want. Yeah. Someone will share the podcast over their newborn child.
Is this a bad time as well to tell you that we're trying to start a podcast and I have absolutely no social media anymore?
You know what? I knew that coming into this. Apparently, it's going to be me.
You have to carry the.
Yeah.
I should probably get on that if we. Like I said, as long as if we get one random follower, then that's it. That's the dream come true. I think.
Yes, I agree. Right.
So why don't you talk people through what it is then? Like what are we going to do each week?
The whole idea of this podcast is going to be we're going to be going through top fives. The top fives can be really random topics, or for today's one, quite broad. So we're going to take you through our favourites of these particular subjects. There's going to be disagreements, there's probably going to be arguments, but these are our opinions, and if you disagree, that's unfortunate, isn't it?
If you disagree, get out.
Yeah.
This is the wrong place.
Just stop listening.
Please don't. We need 2 followers.
Right. The first top 5 was actually thought of by other Mike. Do you want to introduce what the top 5 was?
Yes, top 5 games. I think the way that we've started to do this is we're starting from 5, going to 4, 3, 2, and then doing our honourable mention before number 1.
Which I've got quite a lot of.
I've just got 1 for each one.
No, I mean, one for each number?
No, for honourable mention for each category.
No, I've got 4 on this one.
I'll go into a lot of detail on my honourable mention.
Yeah, that's fair. Mine's just ones in which have had an impact on me in my life, I feel, but they're not good enough to be included in this discussion.
Mine are quite I'm actually really happy with mine. I know you can't win a top 5, but I feel like I'm winning.
See, I feel like I want to say I've gone safe, but I haven't. These are all games that I've absolutely loved. My honourable mentions, on the other hand, 2 of them are quite obscure things. But we'll get into that later. That doesn't need to be discussed right now.
Should we start with number 5?
Number 5, right. Do you want to go first with your number 5?
In hindsight, this is terrible for a podcast. I don't really have that much to say about it, I don't think. But
okay. That's what I'm concerned about for all mine, by the way.
Number 4, strong, though, for stuff to talk about. 5 is Oblivion. Elder Scrolls Oblivion,
yes. Yeah. Never actually played. I started my Elder Scrolls journey with Skyrim.
See, I don't know what it was. Like, Skyrim was better at everything than Oblivion. You have to mean graphics, character models, voice acting, quests. Everything about it was better. And yeah, I still preferred Oblivion. I don't know what it was. Like, I remember playing Skyrim, saying, I know this is better than Oblivion, but I don't like it as much. I don't know if it's the setting or...
Is Oblivion the one where you start off on the jail to begin with?
I feel like they all basically do that. I'm pretty sure
that's very true.
But yeah, it is. You start off in a jail, and then you've got to escape through the sewers, and then you can...
Yeah, and you get attacked by rats at the beginning.
Yeah, and then you just go to the arena, kill loads of people, get some money, and go on your way.
So I think I played the first, 2 minutes of it, and that's it.
I think for this, as you know, I'm a massive fantasy nerd when it comes to books, and one of the things I always love about a fantasy book is open up and looking for that map at the start.
Oh yeah,
and then as they mention things, I keep flicking back to the book and find you tracing where it is. There's a book I'm reading at the minute called Kings of the Wild that's really good for that. And I remember that with Oblivion, getting this fold-out map in the Xbox 360 game case, and again, plotting my journeys, me and my friend sharing a controller and take it in turns, and we all start at the same place, and then having to get to the other end with no sort of weapons or armour and see how far you can make it.
Yeah.
So I love this planning a journey. I think it was just the first game where that idea, that sandbox, which has become super cliche and almost,
which I'll be honest, I am a fan of a good sandbox, but I agree they can be done quite badly.
Yeah, and I think this was great for it. And like I say, in the setting being fantasy was brilliant, and all the bugs made it even better. I think, I think sometimes games are too polished.
Are they?
Well, yeah, it was Cyberpunk, I guess.
I was literally about to bring Cyberpunk into the mix.
But I mean, I remember GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas, and you could use the game's bugs that they hadn't thought through to cheat, almost to make it interesting. Like I said about putting a bomb on the guy's car before the mission started, then rather than go for the chase. Whereas now I feel like you're sort of on, even though it's called a sandbox like Red Dead 2, you're still on rails. You've still got to go a certain path. You've still got to follow a certain way to complete a mission. So it's a sandbox, but only with what the game wants you to do. So yes, there's stupid bugs in games nowadays because they're released too early, but it was the bugs that they couldn't plan for, I guess. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yes, no, I'd agree with that. I think Oblivion's a fair choice to be there. And again, it's one of those games that I've heard is one of the top games, but to try and get hold of it these days, you have to go for an older console or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not really one that I've ended up playing.
It was also one of the first ones I remember DLC being a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember everyone losing their minds because horse armour was one, and people were like, what a waste of money that is. But you don't buy it. If you're bothered, don't buy it. I never get that outrage about DLC sometimes.
No, I get exactly what you mean with that one. No, I think that's a strong first choice there. And I think I've got a lot of time for just the lore that have been put into these Elder Scroll games. Like I said, I've never played any of them apart from Skyrim, but taking Skyrim, for instance, all the books you can collect and read, and I'm sure that's a thing in Oblivion, and it's got all the history of how the world, and I really appreciate the effort that has gone into these games. Oblivion's the fourth one, isn't it?
I think so. I'm sure the new one's 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Skyrim would be 5, and then Oblivion would be 4, wouldn't it? And then Morrowind 3, and then God knows on the first.
Yeah, no idea of those two. But yeah, all right, good choice.
Right, let's see if your number 5 beats my number 5. I know it's not competition, but I'm running it that way now.
Well, if it's competition, then I feel like I'm going to say that I win. Because I don't know who's judging this. But for my number 5, it's Doom 3. So this was on the Xbox that I used to play this version, and I've recently reacquired it on the Switch and absolutely loved it, apart from one feature which I'll talk about in a bit. It was just a fantastic 3D sort of horror atmospheric game. Really sort of put you into it. So I don't know if you know much about it, but you're sort of an engineer in Mars in the future, and on this space research station, they're sort of looking into advanced weapon designs and teleportation, and of course they accidentally open up a portal to hell. So your character, a nobody really, ends up on this mission to try and stop all these demons from escaping and get into Earth. But it's just...
I didn't know it actually had a storyline. I just always... Yeah. I've never played Doom, but I just always thought it was a bit like, I don't know, Unreal Tournament almost. Like it was just but single player. You just go around shooting people with cool guns.
Yeah, the sort of like Quake sort of thing and that sort of style. Yeah. I don't know too much about the first two. We're probably going to get a lot of people nerd raging that we haven't got the information about that sort of thing. But Doom 3 in the future, they use a lot of PDAs. That seems to be their method of telling the story. So there's a few cutscenes within the game. Your character physically doesn't speak. He's one of those silent type main characters. All the other characters around you talk, and you literally can collect hundreds of PDAs and read through everyone's emails and stuff. Some of them completely pointless and redundant, mean absolutely nothing. But some of them giving slight hints into the game's storyline, and that's where the story's told.
So the optional lore, almost, things you pick up on the side.
Exactly. So you can choose to read, and I think there's audio clips as well. What was great about this game, though, is it was truly terrifying. So back in 2004, when it was released, they hadn't worked out how to, I might be wrong in saying they didn't know how to, but in the game, they didn't enable you, to have a torch and a gun at the same time. So
choice.
You could either have the gun out in pitch black, or you could have the torch, but then you can't shoot the enemies at you. So it made it truly scary. And obviously the torch, if you did have it, it'd have that classic thing where it'd run out after a while. It was truly terrifying and genuine jump scares. But recently they redeveloped it. And I was doing a bit of research on this one. There was a mod that people did after it was released. And it's where people actually put it so they could have the gun and the torch at the same time. And this became so popular, it got implemented into the, not remake,
actual game.
Well, yeah, into the sort of re-release that they did on the Switch and
that's quite
other
cool,
consoles.
Isn't it? The modding community has such an impact.
Yeah,
on it.
I agree.
Did it take something away from the game for you?
But yes, it took everything away from the game for me. That was the thing that I found great about the game, the actual fear of it. And there was no option to take that away. You either had it or you didn't. So that's my only negative about this.
Why they would do that, though, in terms of money, because I literally, will not play horror games.
That's fair.
I remember playing Condemned, and I remember having this in a building site. I was going through chasing someone or something, or escaping from the police, and things used to jump out at you all the time. So I remember you could open and close doors, and there was this narrow hallway, and I closed the door behind me, I aimed forward, and there was a closed door there. I was like, nothing can surprise me, because I'll hear it behind me, or I'll see it in front of me.
Yeah.
And then this bloody nutter just runs through this bloody drywall and absolutely spears me. And I was like, I remember going, nope, that's it, I'm done now.
Just walking out of a game. Yeah, no. For me, yeah, it did take something out. And to be fair, I'm quite surprised, because I remember playing this on release. I was 15, but I didn't watch a lot of horror films as a kid, so I was quite surprised that it was one of my top games when I was growing up.
I think it as well, though. It sounds like it had impact on you, wasn't it? And I think when I look at my next choice as well, that's definitely mine as well. Nostalgia is definitely a big reason.
Yeah, I think nostalgia's come into a few of my choices. But yeah, that was definitely... And the fact that I sought it out again when I saw it was on the Switch, that goes to show it obviously had an impact for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 5.
My next one, number 4.
Do we need like a sort of Top of the Pops intro? Coming in at number 4.
Yeah, if you can do that for each one, please, and edit that in, that'd be great. Number 4, I'm going back in the day, PS1.
Oh yeah,
and it is Rugrats Search for Reptar.
Reptar. Yeah.
And did you ever play that one?
I think I did.
Trying to think about this, why when I was picking my games, I was trying to pick them for different reasons. And this is the first time I felt maybe like a true gamer, in the sense I remember completing the game and then replaying it and wanting to find all the little secrets, puzzle pieces, and 100% it. So before you could get platinums and things like that. And I remember wanting to play all the mini games. I still remember there's sort of an NFL American football style one where Angelica's chasing. You've got to throw a bottle of baby chocolate milk away from her so she can't get it.
Oh yeah. I vaguely recall a level in a supermarket as well.
Oh yeah, Chucky's piece of shit. I remember that. So that still frustrates me to this day. The terrible camera angles where you feel like you're jumping across and then the floor was wet and it would take you back to a further box you had to jump over.
Yeah. I've just had a quick Google, and yeah, it is the exact same one that I remember. Yes, I've definitely played this. Haven't got that many memories of it. I distinctly remember playing it around my aunt's house. I think it was my cousin who had it. But yeah.
I feel like, again, there were just lots of mini games, and I remember there was an Easter egg where if you complete it all, you got to do a secret message where you could play as the mission, even where you could play as the dinosaur and destroy the city. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, like I said, it was the first time I think I ever felt like a gamer before knowing what a gamer was back then.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to master it. I didn't just want to play the mission once. I wanted to get better at it and do a better job and complete it quicker the next time, things like that.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's a great choice, this one, because it's making me want to go back and play this game.
Well,
Like,
and
I think we start the campaign right here, right now, for a remake of that game.
well, I don't know if the company's still in business. Now, I did some research on this, and this is amazing. Like, this is the type of stuff you can't make up. So it was developed by N-Space, who ended up making pretty much just Nintendo DS games up until about 2015. I don't think they've done much since then, so I assume they've gone out of business. But the same year that they released Rugrats Search for Reptar on PS1, this children's game, they also released the same year Duke Nukem.
Oh, yeah.
One of them. It's like, I've just got the image of these developers I know it was probably two different teams, but I like to think it was one team working on both games simultaneously.
Or just real man children just developing it. Having a secret love for Rugrats.
But yeah, that's unbelievable.
Great show and great game.
My number 4.
I like it. Right, my number 4 isn't as obscure as that, because that is quite an obscure game, and I think a lot of our one viewer probably hasn't heard of that one. My number 4 is definitely a game most people have heard of. I don't know whether you ever owned Nintendo 64.
Do you know what? I was just going through the attic on Christmas decoration. I've still got it.
Oh, really? Nice.
I've still got about 20 games, so there you go.
Oh, see.
I
was going to say, I'm straight over there. So have you got GoldenEye?
I do.
There we go. So my number 4 is GoldenEye.
What a game.
It was just a fantastic game and something they don't make anymore in terms of couch co-op.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The multiplayer was just phenomenal. The single-player game, absolutely brilliant. And I know this is going to sound a really random reason to have it up there as well, but the fact you could actually shoot out lights back in the day, you could physically shoot out the lights and they'd turn off.
And
that's
more
next level.
importantly, surely the first game where you could use a machine gun to draw a penis on a wall.
Yes. Like, I'm sure that was everyone's favourite feature, just sat there, just shooting at the wall and it actually having bullet damage. That would, for some reason, after a while, because I'm guessing it was due to the limitations, start to fade away, and you'd try and catch it before it faded away, wouldn't you?
You had to complete the penis before the bullets faded.
Yeah. No, it was great. And then all the cheat codes that you could have for it, so you could have giant head mode or the paintball mode and various things like that.
Yeah.
And the single player was just brilliant. I still remember, like, I'm 100% sure I completed it, but I've definitely played the first few missions so many times. It was just so much fun. I remember, like, one of the missions where you had to escape to, like, it was like an aircraft hangar and you had to get to the plane. But
I was just thinking of that one in my head.
early on, you could steal the tank, couldn't you? Oh, it was fantastic.
Not only was it, like, obviously, I think it's known for making FPS what FPS is now. The two sticks and things like that. From the point of view of the gun. Well, as it's meant to be.
Well, you used to have to use the C. Yeah, you used to have to use the C sticks, didn't you? The yellow buttons on the side to move around as well.
Yeah, I remember the cheat codes, and like I said, I remember playing with my cousin, played hide and seek, where one of us would turn around, would hide ourselves in the mission, look down, and we had a timer for how long it'd take you to find them. Yeah, so I remember making up my own like games for it as well. But yeah, thinking back, it wasn't just all of that. It was how cinematic the missions were. Like, you had to get to the plane and then you'd watch yourself, almost like the Bond film, fly.
Well, like the first mission where you're making your way through and then at the end you jump off the dam.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I completely agree. It was really immersive and just a fantastic game. The only annoying thing about it...
when they remade it?
Yes. So they made one remake and they also tried to make a sequel. I can't think what the sequel's called, but it had GoldenEye in the beginning, and it wasn't really a sequel. They was obviously trying to keep in the fans, but neither hit the mark for some reason. I don't understand how a remake of the game couldn't hit the mark, but it really didn't. It just didn't have that same feel to it.
Shame that. Do you ever play Nightfire as well? I played on the GameCube, but I'm sure it was on the PS2 as well.
Was that, what, James Bond?
Yeah.
I played the few. Was that the sort of dark one?
Yeah, it's when James Bond turned out to be raised and like the Holocaust and the hype.
Okay, so we're now working out who our viewers are going to be. No, I don't remember that one. Hold on. I'm going to have a quick Google because I'm now convinced there is definitely a dark James Bond game, and it's really bugging me what his name is.
I'm going to have to add another honourable mention on it.
Rogue Agent. There we go. that might be actually the sequel that they made that wasn't really a sequel, GoldenEye Rogue Agent. So you take the role of an ex-MI16... MI16? What am I on about? MI6 agent who's recruited by Goldfinger to assassinate Dr. No. So it's a bit of a darker sort of spin on it all. So I wasn't making it up, but that's obviously the one I'm thinking of in terms of they kept the GoldenEye name.
I remember the one I'm on about, just it had like, you could have bots, so you could play like a deathmatch, like local co-op, but put bots on as well. So I guess it was the first time I felt like I was playing, it's now commonplace with like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I think like, so I'm looking at not Rogue Agent, I'm looking at the one that you said, Agent Under Fire now. Nightfire, yes. Nightfire. You are right.
I think embarrassingly, I'm sure that was my original Xbox 360 name or something like that.
What, Nightfire?
Yeah, I thought it sounded really cool until like a week later someone was like, oh, you on Xbox Online or whatever it was called back then? And I was like, Xbox Live. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, give me your Xbox tag. I was like, you give me yours? Because I was like a little bit too old, I think, to have a name like that.
I think I played this game as well, looking at it. I think I played a lot of the 007 games. They were just a lot of fun, but GoldenEye is obviously the one that cemented it for me. It's made a lot of games what they are today, and it's what we're missing with the couch co-op, in my opinion. I'm not good enough to be playing online. I'm not a massive gamer in terms of stuff like that. So I go online on these games to play against people, and I just get killed instantly, so the fun's lost there. Whereas playing against my brother who doesn't know how to use a controller, I'm the one who's winning.
I think we've learned a lot about you there since
I'm sure I used to cheat all the time. I was one of those gamers who definitely looked at someone else's screen to work out where they were.
No, I was almost
the worst kind of person
in my ability not to do that. I remember even to the point of taping a bed sheet across the middle of the screen and trying to do it that way so people didn't cheat.
I'm definitely not honourable in the game.
Or in life.
No, apparently not.
Are you ready for winning a number 3?
Number three. Gonna mix it up.
Mine's a bit of a cheat here because it's 2 games.
Oh, well then
let's just end the
you've
podcast
lost.
now. We can't.
It's just over. We set out the rules, top 5. First episode, you destroy it.
Okay, should we change it to top 5-ish?
Coming in at the top 5-ish.
Last of Us, both 1 and 2, because it's, part as well. It's not Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2, it's part 2. So it is still part of the same game in that sense.
If you want to play it like that, no.
Well, I've completed both of them, and then I've just redone them with my girlfriend as well. And yeah, I mean, storytelling, amazing. Graphically, unbelievable. Voice acting, incredible. I think it's Ashley
I'm going to stop you a second. Do you want to rewind just in case your fiancé listens to this?
Fiancé?
Yeah.
One of us keeping track of that. So number 3, The Last of Us, both part 1 and 2, which me and my fiancé have recently just played together. Yeah, I just absolutely loved it, and I know it's got a lot of criticism because of the... I mean, can I spoil it? Is it a spoiler at this point?
Right, well, just put a cravat here. Don't listen for the next 30 seconds or so, because we're about to give a spoiler for The Last of Us Part 2.
So, obviously Joel dies, and then, half of the story is Ellie trying to get revenge. And
I would like to say I haven't played The Last of Us Part 2, so thanks for spoiling it.
I don't care about you. I care about our one listener. Shall we name our one listener?
No. Oh, okay, let's go with Jonathan.
So for Jonathan, our one listener, I care about him being spoiled, you, not so much.
This one listener's coming back now, and been 30 seconds and they're about to get the spoiler.
Can you imagine? And then they stopped listening. We had one listener for a quarter of a podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people complained that it was just too simplistic. It was all just about revenge and how bad revenge is and how, violence begets violence sort of thing. But I don't think it was that. I think obviously that there is that element. But I think it's more looking at 2 people at different stages of their life.
Yeah.
Like when we see Abby at the start of the game...
That's a new character.
Where we find, that's right. That's the one who kills Joel.
Oh, is it?
And we find by the sort of towards the end, that's where Ellie is. So it's interesting because it's those parallels that you hate Abby at the start, and then as you play her over 3 days and see her flashbacks, you actually, I personally started to like Abby more than Ellie. And it was just interesting because I think more than it being this whole too obvious statement of don't do revenge, it's really bad for you. It was more just looking at I think the more that you disliked Ellie because of how much this sort of revenge had overtaken it, it just even more made you empathise with Abby, because you can go, well, actually, I can see why she did that, because where Ellie is right now is where Abby was at the start of the game. And that's what I thought was clever, is how can you take the most unlikable character who's killed one of the most beloved PlayStation characters in Joel, how can you sympathise with her? And I think by having Ellie become Abby almost, that you were able to sort of do it. And I think that's, even if you only had a tiny smidgen of sympathy for Abby, I think then that's incredible storytelling in any medium, whether it be books, films or video games. And like I say, for me, it was a piece of art more than a game.
I was going to say, so are you coming at this in that the story was just so good and that's what made the game for you?
Yeah, like I said, I don't even think that the story. I think the first, as a story, as a narrative, as a piece of storytelling, the first one's much better. But the second one, it's more clever how the writing made me feel something for what is ultimately a video game. And I think often, it's that whole thing, Grand Theft Auto. How many people used to kill the prostitute and felt no guilt about it. It's not because we were.
Oh, that's because
it felt like a game.
Yeah, but that also she took our money, so you want to get that back.
But no, I think it was, I don't know, that's what I thought was so clever about the second one, is it stopped me thinking this is a game, and almost became like a human psychological point, like, oh, who should I like, who do I not like, why am I thinking this way, why are they thinking that way? And like I said, I can't give a higher compliment than it sort of made me forget it was a game, that immersion.
I think that's very fair. I personally have struggled to get into The Last of Us.
Well, you're a terrible person.
Apparently so. But I will agree that the story is fantastic. For me, though, I do struggle just with... I've never really, controversial opinion, been a fan of many of Naughty Dog's games. I couldn't get on with Uncharted either. I don't know what it is about it. I just felt it was like, especially more so in Uncharted, you sort of press forwards and your character would go left, right, wherever, because that's where the game wanted to take you.
Very linear.
I didn't
100%.
feel as though there was my own choices being made there. And that's the only thing that took it out of me for The Last of Us. It was very linear in, you do this, you go there. I like I like to go around, try and explore places, and that's what it is for me. But I understand your reasoning for putting Last of Us up here completely. It is a fantastic game still, regardless of those choices, and it's a great story. And
I think, particularly as well, the first one, in a sort of where almost... getting your money's worth. Every game has to have this like longevity. You have to be like free-to-play games like Fortnite now have seasons rather than sequels.
Yeah.
Same with Fallout guys. So like you put hundreds of hours into it. Whereas I think there's something to be said about a Last of Us game in this modern world where you can complete it in 15 hours in the first game, 30 hours on the second game, for instance.
Yeah.
Like to actually be able to complete a game in this day and age is a nice feeling.
Yeah. All right.
So you're number 3.
Yes. So this one had a bit of thinking behind it. So one of my favourite game franchises, and I've played a lot of the games in its series, is the Zelda franchise. So obviously the most recent one, Breath of the Wild. I'm still yet to play it on the Switch, but I played it on the Wii U when I had that. One of the best games I've ever played. And even though it is genuinely probably the top game I've ever played, it still didn't make the cut, because my love of that came from the Ocarina of Time.
Oh, what a game, yeah.
So I couldn't put Breath of the Wild above or below the game that made me fall in love with the whole franchise in general. It's just a fantastic game. I read recently that there's planning on, because it was such a vast landscape, they're planning on doing it a bit like Mario, in terms of you went into the pictures to go into these different worlds.
Yeah.
But they realised that just wouldn't work, and that's where Hyrule Field came into play. So you had that massive open landscape where you could see each of the different sort of places that you wanted to go. It was just a brilliant game, and I meant to bring it up, I forgot annoyingly. But recently I partook in Reddit Secret Santa. And
What's that?
So Reddit Secret Santa is basically throughout... You've heard of Reddit, yes?
Yeah, the forum thing.
Yeah, exactly. So what they do is every year they do a Secret Santa, and you don't know who it's going to be. You sort of sign up. You don't have a cost limit or anything like that. You sort of put a bit of a description about you, and you'll be matched with a random person, and then they send you something. So I got the second book in Mythos, which I appreciate to my Reddit if you're listening to this for whatever reason. I did put that my favourite books are the Mythos series, And you did get me the second book in that. But my second gift, when they messaged me to say their second gift is on the way, I was like, oh God, you brought me the third one, and I know that I've got that for Christmas. But luckily, they got me a really interesting gift, which was a sort of, it was like a wind-up music box. And you wound it, and it played the theme music from The Legend of Zelda. And it just
cool.
Yeah, it was a really obscure gift.
What did you get then?
Oh, I didn't get this person something. I got someone else who, I'm not going to say why, but I didn't enjoy buying them a gift. Maybe I'll explain to you personally, because I don't want to offend anyone. But I didn't enjoy buying them a gift. But I got them... There's a weird clicking, by the way.
Oh, sorry, that's my pen.
Oh. Just in case our viewers can hear that. Right, so I got him a book which was like the history of Scotland by two of the actors from Outlander. I didn't enjoy trying to find a gift for him. It wasn't fun. But that wasn't
a nice idea, though. The Reddit
it wasn't the person who brought me a gift. It's just literally completely random. Bill Gates does it. It's always like big thing to be the person who gets the gift from Bill Gates.
Because it's obviously...
Yeah, because he buys a lot from. Right, anyway, I've forgotten where we were. We were talking about Legend of Zelda.
Ocarina of Time.
Yes, that was it. So I got that wind-up music box, which was really quite cool. And it just brought back memories of enjoying the game and making me want to play it again and just hoping there'll be a remake come soon.
I've got that on N64 as well, so I can come around and play it.
I'll be over. Loved it. It also... wasn't a game I completed until probably about 2009, 2010.
What, complete on the N64 still?
Yeah, so I had it on I don't know what happened. It got lost throughout university at some point, and it's really annoying. But I'm sure I had it at some point, and I know I had it at university. But I got stuck on the classic water temple. Everyone loves a good old water temple level.
Is that the one where you go inside the... creature, the whale or something?
No, the second water level, so it's inside the temple, so it's the water temple. Right. And I just couldn't complete it, so I just gave up on the game, and it really frustrated me because I loved the game. I was occasionally go back to it, and then I managed to complete it probably about 10 years later, and it was just a fantastic feeling, and it was such a good game. It was revolutionary at the time, I felt. It was just, in terms of the 3D and the vastness of the game, I don't remember playing a game that was that big before then.
No.
And it was just a lot of fun, and the lore there was just fantastic. All the different creatures that you came across. I loved it. I can't say any more than that. I just really loved the game. It's just brilliant. And the games that have come afterwards, not direct sequels apart from Majora's Mask, they're sort of all within this separate universe, and there's like a big compilation about how sort of timelines have all split up from this one event. It's just a brilliant game.
I think as well, that sort of era as well, the N64. I remember my cousin gave it me, and the games were saved on the actual cartridges, I guess, weren't they? Like, a lot of them were already completed. I remember, I don't know if anyone, I don't know if my one listener, Jonathan, had a similar childhood experience. So I have a lot of these games where they were already completed for me.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to enjoy them. I got to enjoy the after part, where you've got everything unlocked and you're super powerful.
Well, going back to my previous choice, GoldenEye, that became a lot of fun once all the levels were unlocked, all the characters were unlocked, all the cheats were unlocked. So, yeah, I get exactly what you're on about with that.
It's quite nice in some ways. In some ways, obviously, I lost the sort of, the what you got, this idea of completing and achieving something.
Yeah.
But it was also fun for a young kid just to be able to play with invisibility and just go around getting people from behind and they have no idea I was there on the main story.
Yeah.
Like GoldenEye now.
Yeah, not Ocarina of Time, because that'd be a very different game. Yeah, so that's my number 3 choice. It's probably the game that got me into gaming, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and like I say, I think going back to my number 5, Oblivion, I don't think there would have been Oblivion without an Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Right, you ready to introduce number 2? As in the voiceover? Let's
go for number 2.
That should also be how you announce when you go for a shit from now on. Number 2, I think the only thing that's going to surprise you about this choice is that it's not number 1.
Okay.
And that is the world's best spreadsheet, that is Football Manager. I've sunk a embarrassing amount of hours into Football Manager.
Yes.
Since 2005, so I'm not one of the championship managers, but I have played 01, 02, which everyone loves.
So is it 2005 you started with?
Yeah, so it used to be called Championship Manager.
That was the one that I used to play as well.
Well, when I first started, I was cheating. I remember getting like the data editor and making really odd signings. Like I was Derby County, the Championship, and I only signed one player, and it was an aging Hernan Crespo who used to play for Chelsea. I don't know why I did it. Of all the players in the world I could have picked, and I went for Hernan Crespo.
So what is it that you liked about this game specifically? Because as a gamer, I think a lot of people will be shocked that this is in the top 5.
Oh, 100%. I get that. I think, again, as someone who likes to read and use their imagination, I guess, in that way, it sounds pretentious as fuck, but I think it was that you had to make your own narratives up because there was no, like, high-end graphics and, you know, a lot of it was just looking at numbers and dots on the screen.
Yeah, it was literally dots running around with a little football, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the idea that, you know, I'd sign this. So you have these things called new gens, which are newly generated players, or regens, it's sometimes called. So they weren't real people. They were these 16-year-olds you could sign from some random place in Argentina for a team in League Two, who would then go on to be this world's best player. And it was, I think there was that idea of that story making of you signing them and watching them get better and better and better and helping you win things. And like I say, you have all these little stories, these little narratives within the game that you make up in your own head.
Well, there's definitely one football player that had that everyone in the world would sign and would think would become the world's best player. And in the game, they did become the world's best player. And really, they became no one. And can you remember who that player was?
Freddie Adu.
Freddie Adu, yeah. That's one of the biggest things. Everyone would always sign Freddie Adu. He became the world's best player in the game. Nobody in real life, really. Literally, he is only famous because of that.
I know, and that... You know, you got to feel so sorry for him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but that just epitomises football, isn't it? That sort of idea of... I don't know if you could even call it wasted potential. Because that's harsh sometimes to say that. Like, I always think of, like, Ravel Morrison gets a really bad reputation. He used to play for United. But then, you know, there's a lot coming out now that he sort of had ADHD, and because of football, he wasn't allowed the medication he needed. So a lot of his sort of troubles came from sort of his past and the fact that he wasn't allowed medication he could have. So it's, you know, it's easy, isn't it? It's lazy to say they're wasting their potential when actually sometimes there's a lot behind the scenes for why they didn't maybe become who they could have become.
Plus, also, it is just algorithms in the game that make them become who they become.
Wow, you know, it is the largest scouting network in the world.
Well, do people actually use it for that?
Yeah. So I remember David Moyes, when he was at Everton, said that he used the Foot Manager database as part of his scouting. And I think now there's more, I don't know, professional perhaps. Maybe that's maybe the wrong term, but there's sort of these people who go out and get data on all these players and give them sort of ratings and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like I said, I think it was just this idea of, I liked football, so the idea of being a manager was great, and it was that idea that you had to make up your own stories. Like I say, I used to interview myself in the bath, like how the real football manager. Yeah, there's a film called The Commitment where I think he does a similar thing. And yeah, I remember literally interviewing myself. I never quite went to suiting up for a cup final, but I've done pretty much every weird, nerdy thing you could possibly do to make the game seem more realistic in my head as possible.
Nice. I like the choice, and I like why it's there. And at the end of the day, this is a top 5 of your personal games. And while for a lot of people that won't be there, and again, you have said Football Manager. Is there a specific one that's your favourite?
Yeah, it was Red. I think it was 2013, and it was the first time I didn't cheat. Okay. I didn't do save scumming where I saved and reloaded, and I got Burton from I think it was the conference that they were in, all the way to the Premier League champions and Champions League winners.
Nice.
And I didn't use any cheats or the database hacks or reloads and things like that. So there's like a real sense of like accomplishment.
Yeah.
From it.
No,
like I said, in terms of all these games, it's by far the one I've sunk the most hours into, so it had to be on the list.
No, me and my friend Laugh, he have a look at his Steam account regularly, and he's got hundreds upon hundreds of games there with 0 hours on it. But then you look at Football Manager, and it's got probably years worth of hours on it, because as well he'd just put it running in the background sometimes, so it physically would be years worth of gameplay on it, and we always used to laugh about it. No, I like that choice, and it is a game that I'm not into football, as you know, but I actually really enjoyed Football Manager, and it's a game that I could probably get into now. But I did try recently, and it's very confusing if you don't know a lot of the players.
Yeah, I can imagine, to be fair. I imagine it is quite daunting going in without that knowledge.
Because I probably stopped playing back in 2000, I'm going to say about 9. Was probably the last one that I remember playing 2005. I remember being that being the main one that I played.
I feel like 2009 was the year they first went 3D.
Yes, in which case that was the year.
At the time.
Yeah. It was still a bit buggy, I remember, but...
Yeah, looking back now, it didn't look great.
And I think sometimes I'd go 2D because it would look better than the 3D.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least it did on my computer. Yeah, I think that's a fair choice, and it's, again, your list, so yeah, why not put it out there? It's obviously a game that means a lot to you.
Number 2, then?
My number 2 is the only game, I think, that might cross over with yours, and hasn't so far... I'm concerned it might be your number 1, but I might be wrong. You might have chosen something else. But my number 2 is Minecraft.
No, it isn't.
Fantastic.
It is a fantastic game, though.
I actually had a completely different game for number 2. And then as I started sort of writing about it, I realised I couldn't remember a huge amount about it. I'll tell you what the game was. It was Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, a lot of people put that up as an amazing game, don't they?
Yeah, but I can't remember too much about it. I know, I love the Fallout games, and Fallout, I'll say it now, it's going to be honourable mentions because just fantastic immersive games. I know people slate Bethesda for what they've done recently with Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, but I still really enjoy their games. They're just brilliant fun. Just going around enjoying yourself in an open world universe, to be honest with you. But that is also why Minecraft, when I started thinking about it more, I was like, what is the ultimate sort of open world game? And really, Minecraft gets up there because you can physically do so much.
Yeah.
So, one viewer won't know this, but me and Mike quite often play Minecraft and building a little world that we continuously destroy. And I always go out exploring and die a lot. But... it's just a brilliant game, and just the things that they keep on adding to it, and the fact it was, even though the person turned out not to be a very nice person, but the fact
Knock.
Yes.
What, was he not a good guy in the end?
I think he spouted like Nazi statements. I don't want to quote this wrong, so I'm going to quickly. I think it's Nook was his name.
Do you know what? I really hope that one day we get big enough to be like, have you ever seen Joe Rogan's podcast?
I've heard of him.
They've got a guy who's just in the background who just like when them conversations like this, Joe Rogan will be like, what happened last year at that thing? And the guy will Google it, and then there's obviously a screen that Joe Rogan can look at, and they can pull up what they Google.
Notch, not Knock. And so his real name is Marcus Pearson. Mm-hmm. Let's go to controversy on Wikipedia.
He sounds like a Roman already.
Pearson has received criticism for political and social opinions he expressed on Twitter, such as referring to feminism as a social disease and claiming that feminists are overtly sexist against men. He tweeted in support of Heterosexual Pride Day, calling opponents to the ideas, going to go explicit with our podcast, cunts, and suggesting that they deserve to be shot. In November 2017... he posted a tweet that read, "It's okay to be white." He just basically doesn't sound like a very nice person. So Microsoft actually removed him from any reference in the game after they brought the game.
I never get about people who do this. Like, if I had these extreme opinions, I was in the public eye, surely think, I'd best not say this because it's really going to rile people up. I never get people
just
who
keep
are like
it to yourself.
Who are overtly racist. Like, surely you should hide that.
Don't get racism in the slightest. We'll put that out there now. But yeah, I get what you mean. If you are racist and you're very famous, why would you reveal that?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's taken away from the game completely, though, because it still is a fantastic game. Unfortunately, its creator wasn't asked.
From the artist.
We've talked about this a few times, yeah. I can't think what we talked about it with, but yeah, I agree. It's
films.
Yeah, separating the art from the artist.
Oh, J.K. Rowling, probably.
Yeah. And the art for Minecraft is fantastic. Keep coming up with this idea, and it's an infinite world now, isn't it? It used to be at the time there was only a certain region you can go to. It's definitely become a lot more immersive, and you can do so much more. You can create stuff. It's educational as well. They've added things that help out with schools.
I think it's amazing in terms as well as like, you know, we'll let our one follower Jonathan into this, but like, there's so much complex stuff you can do in Minecraft, and you and I have never come close to touching that.
No.
Really. And I don't know, whenever we play, or when I play on my own, we always at the same point, you know, I build a base so I can't get attacked by zombies.
Yeah.
I can build a bed, torches, I can mine, I can normally get to a bit where I can get, you know, to sort of diamond, and I'll make some armour and sword. I've tried to go in the nether once, and it was scary, but we're going to try again, I'm sure. But like, well, normally what I do is I normally then get a bit bored, leave it a few weeks, and start a new world again from scratch.
Yeah.
And that's all I do is constantly, I don't use the sort of amazing things that they have. I don't really go beyond the very, very basics, but that's great, isn't it? That I can still enjoy the game with maybe using 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 10%.
Yeah, it says a lot for the game, really. But yeah, and the things that people have created, like, I'm sure there's people that are creating the whole of the earth at the moment, like literally a whole Minecraft universe, which is the world.
Yeah.
There's people who have created stuff from Game of Thrones and Skyrim, like literally everything, and it's fantastic, and it's a commitment to the game actually that so many people enjoy doing this. Yeah, that's my number 2. It's not got a plot, it's not got a story, but it's just a fun game to play.
And from a business point of view, the money it's made from, you know, that is stupidly impressive.
Oh, it's meant to have a movie coming out at some point soon. I don't know when.
I'm sure my nephew has watched an interactive film about it, or TV show.
Yeah, Minecraft, they did a Telltale game. I can't think what it's called now. It's going to bug me, but it had
on Netflix.
Yeah, it had Patton Oswalt as the main character. But yeah, and then it's an actual game, but then they developed it onto Netflix. You are absolutely right with that. But yeah,
should we go for honourable mentions then? So you've talked me through. Talking of as well, New Vegas, because I've never played it. I played number 3, really liked it. Liam Neeson as your dad. What a game already. But New Vegas, what did they make? The developers of that had made something else previously, hadn't they? They've gone
yes, it's really going to bug me. Yeah, they did make Outer Worlds.
It was it the original Fallouts maybe that they made, like 1 and 2?
No, I don't think that, because Bethesda are the ones who make like most of the Fallout games.
I feel like I remember reading that the reason New Vegas I think was so good is because it took the best bits of 3 and then included whatever they used to originally work on.
Oh yeah, it definitely became a lot more old school. Like, so they have made Knights of the Old Republic.
What a game! That should be on my honorable. It's not. Yeah. I loved them.
Neverwinter Nights 2, but no, they didn't make anything prior. Any Fallout games prior. But they should definitely be. They made South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Well, I've never played it yet.
It's quite a fun game. Yeah. It was just fun. They added a lot of. I might be wrong with saying this, but they added a lot more sort of choices to the game and the factions and things like that, so you could choose the different factions that you'd be part of. It was a good game. I remember my friend being in absolute shock when I decided, well, the game's called New Vegas, I want to go to New Vegas, and I went there. You're not meant to get access to New Vegas for some time because you will die. I somehow made it into the strip. I did die quite a bit afterwards, but I remember him being in absolute shock, being like, how the hell did you do that? And I don't know either, because I am not a good gamer. I play it for fun, but I am not good. Exactly. But that's what I liked about it. You can go anywhere, you can do quite a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's just a fun game. So my honourable mentions, in at number 1 on my, or number 4 on my honourable mentions. Yeah, the bottom of my honourable mentions is a fantastic game that you probably haven't heard of. Released in 1993 for the Sega Mega Drive, was probably the first game that I ever played. And it's called ToeJam and Earl in Panic on Funkatron.
Yep, definitely never heard of that.
No, absolutely obscure game. Like I say, 2 of these games are really obscure that a lot of people wouldn't have heard of. But I remember me and my friend Carl, we said ToeJam and Earl. So it's the sequel I played, which is called Panic on Funkatron, sorry. So reading the Wikipedia, because I can't remember a huge amount about it, but it did have a plot. It concerns 2 alien protagonists, ToeJam and Earl, who both escaped from Earth, where they crash-landed. After returning to their home of Funkatron, they discover that a number of antagonistic Earthlings have stowed away in the spacecraft and are wreaking havoc across the planet. It was just a really fun game. There was something about it. I can't really explain too much because, again, it was so long ago that I played it now. But it was just a fun game and enjoyable. And it had a cracking soundtrack.
I don't know why, but it reminds me of... I remember when you used to get a PS1, you used to get a console that used to come with a demo disc. Do you remember that? It had like
demo discs all the time, yeah.
I remember there was this one, and if anyone ever ends up listening to this who knows and can comment, I don't even know anything
about. We've got a viewer already.
Jonathan knows about this already.
I really hope our one viewer is called Jonathan.
I hope we get a viewer called Jonathan. In fact, no, I'm going back. I hope we get a viewer.
Yeah.
But if he's not called Jonathan, he will be from evermore.
If you are listening and you're called Jonathan, email us and we'll get you on the show.
Be amazing. Jonathan would be our first guest. Or save it for our 100th episode.
Oh, well, yeah. Let's go big.
Do you know what? I'm going to end this story because I can't remember what it was called. It was just some sort of platformer, and you were like this weird kid. And did you have a sling? Were you in just like pants or something?
I'm not sure, but it sounds interesting.
It was odd. I remember it feeling like a really good game when I was playing it, like the mechanics. But and I always completed the demo. And then never ended up buying it.
Oh.
What a shy story that was. Moving on. My one of two honourable mentions. Okay. One is Dragon Age. Again, fantasy, RPG. Loved it. It was particularly the first one, Origins. Mm-hmm. I never played the second one. I heard it was dreadful. And then I played Inquisition, which was okay. I sort of enjoyed it at the time, but looking back, it was a bit forgettable. But Dragon Age Origins, what I loved was this idea that you picked a different race at the start. Mm-hmm. So you could be a human, you could be an elf, you could be a dwarf, and before the main mission you had your own origin story. You were at this battle essentially, so whatever character you end up at this battle, and that becomes part of the main story, had your own little origin story firsthand. So you could be like a noble and your brother tried to take the throne from you. I think he assassinates your dad. So part of the sort of side mission for you, for your origin story, is you get revenge on your brother. Whereas you could also be a dwarf commoner, and obviously your origin story would be different. Or you could be a elf, and your origin story would be different. So I thought that was cool, that not only would people react differently based on your race, but you had your own little story. So it had that sort of replayability value to it. And yeah, it was cool. I just remember it being cool. The characters were interesting. You felt powerful, even though the combat wasn't great. You could get to the point where you felt like quite a powerful character, but the progression was sort of natural. So yeah, I didn't want to put it on because I had Oblivion as well. So another fantasy.
Yeah, I get what you mean by that. Right, shall I say two of mine, and then you can say your final one, and then I'll give my final one for the honourable mentions. So I'll say both of these on the same one. Both Sonic and Mario. Any games are in those franchises. Again, I used to have a Sega Mega Drive. That was the first console I owned, so obviously Sonic played a big part in that. And I remember going around my aunt's, as well as playing, I'm going to say, two really obscure games. I'm pretty sure she had Home Alone 2. I can't think what the ending is. Something from New York, isn't it? And she also had a Hulk Hogan wrestling game. I remember playing those two a lot, but also I remember playing the Mario game on the NES, and love both of them. Like, they are fantastic games. We wouldn't be in the world that we are now without either of those games, I don't think. So yeah, just wanted to mention how great they are, and how to this day I still play Mario games all the time. I've recently played the most recent Sonic game. They're just great games. Controversially,
Mario, completely agree. I like the one on Mario 64, amazing. I've heard recently that it's amongst Mario fans, I think is panned. I could be wrong there, but I remember getting the GameCube and playing Mario Sunshine, really enjoying it.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people don't like it, but I really enjoyed that game.
Sonic, I do think, is absolute shite.
Are you on about 3D Sonic or 2D?
I'm on about the platform one. I feel like I could pretty much, even as a kid, like do well on that game by just pressing right the whole time.
Oh, you would be so wrong. You would be stuck. Because sometimes you have to go left.
Oof.
No, you would not do well just by going right. There's a lot of thinking to it. And obviously, it's not necessarily completing the level. It's completing the level in time. and all the levels have a time limit as well. To be fair,
You
they
have
did
a ring limit as well. You have to get rings as well.
Yeah, you had to get rings. Obviously, if you got 100 rings, you get an extra life. But in some of them, that finishing the certain levels meant that you with different rings meant you could get gems, and the gems allowed you to become supersonic. There's all sorts of things to it. It is just a great game.
Is that 2 in 1 you've done there then?
Yeah, I've just done 2 together because I feel like they deserve to go together because they are big mascots for their companies and both
100%.
revolutionary games.
They're gaming icons, aren't
Yeah, exactly.
My last honorable mention, Time Splitters 2. What an absolutely amazing game.
Oh, great, on GameCube.
I think I played it on the PS2.
I played it on the GameCube, but yeah, either way.
Again, I remember the first time doing local, couch co-op, local co-op, where we did bots. And
I was going to say, you definitely could do it on that.
The same team, doing deathmatch. I remember the gingerbread man coming in and randomly shooting people and then running out. You just seemed to be stupid. I don't know if that was...
Wasn't there a little monkey AI as well you could play as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But again, I remember, it was just for the bots you could play, those mini games, made it, I guess, it gets an insight into what, when we started to get Xbox Live and online gaming, what it was going to become on consoles at least. I'm sure PC gamers would tell me that you could have done that for years, but yeah, on console it was a look into what the world would be like, the future.
Yeah. Right, so my final honourable mention is a game that I've mentioned to you numerous times. It only came out, at least on the Switch, it might have been out a bit earlier, but it only came out on the Switch late last year, because we're now in 2021 now. It's a game called Horus.
Oh, really? I'm surprised on your honourable mentions.
It is such a good game. It kind of, and I really want to say kind of, reminded me of a bit of... do you remember playing a game called Super Meat Boy?
I remember watching a documentary about it. I don't think I've
really?
played it. Yeah, have you seen that?
No, really odd game to be making a documentary about.
It was about indie developers.
Yeah.
And how basically I think they sacrificed loads and they put a lot of their own money into it, and then obviously they became, I imagine, super rich from it. But it was a big gamble because they were developing it on their own.
Okay.
And I think because of successes like Super Meat Boy, what made this one of the games that turned into indies being so popular and profitable now.
Yeah, I definitely remember it being one of the early indie games. Anyway, so yeah, with Horus, you play as a little robot who has been developed by an old man. Story comes into play. I'm not going to say anything because I think the story is absolutely phenomenal in this game. It's all narrated by the robot, and he tells the whole story. Pop culture references galore from really obscure British history. It starts off with, like, the old Granada with the old Thames logo coming out of the, like, double-sided. Starts off similar to that with Horus. And
I just realised, by the way, that throughout all of this conversation, at times I've been nodding, realising we're on a podcast.
I do occasionally do that, and then have to go, because I've realised the same. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's narrated by this guy, and you sort of... So the main mechanic is you're stuck to the ground, and you can walk on the walls and the ceiling, but your sort of gravity assumes that's the way you're facing. So if you're on the side of the wall and jump off and there's nothing there, you'll just fall. You might fall off the earth because of it and stuff like that. So it's a really interesting platformer because of that. And like I say, the story is fantastic. At the moment, it's really cheap on the Nintendo Switch store, so go and buy it. Yeah. I genuinely got it on the day one it released and probably completed it 5 years later because I just played it non-stop. Really good game. So I just wanted to put that on my honourable mentions because I think it is a hidden gem that most people should seek out.
I like it.
Right. I think it's the time that our viewers have been waiting for. Number one.
This it was such an easy decision for me. Is the greatest game of all. Like, the others aren't even close to it.
See, I will say mine definitely isn't the greatest game of all time, but it's definitely a game that I enjoyed the most. That's why I picked it there.
Mine's got everything. It's got replayability. It still, I think, holds up now.
Oh, Leisure Suit Larry.
Lots of other games. And that is, drumroll.
I don't want to because we'll ruin the audio.
Warcraft 3 on PC.
Okay, I can't get involved in this conversation, unfortunately.
Well, it's a real-time strategy game. and that was fun. The campaign was brilliant. Bear in mind, I'd never played the others. I still think even now the cutscenes are still outrageously good for how old the game is, and I think what was most impressive was their sort of online. I remember going on Battle.net and you had essentially, I'm pretty sure the developers, Blizzard, just essentially let people have the modding tools so they could do whatever they wanted. And as soon as you got online, it was a completely different game, or hundreds of different games. There were ones like Life of a Peasant, where you basically just got a job. I remember just with my friend just being lumberjacks.
Oh, nice!
and then getting arrested by the police for no reason. I remember Dota, or Dota 2, what's now come. These MOBAs came from Warcraft 3.
Okay.
I remember tower defense games, which are again now quite popular on mobile, particularly.
Yeah.
I remember playing them.
So it had a bit of everything, did it?
Yeah, exactly. The actual game, for what it was brilliant on its own. It would, definitely have made the honourable mentions. But when you got onto the online and all the mods that they had, like I say, there were like 200, 300 different games on there. There's one now, and I can't remember the name of it, but I think there's several types. But it was essentially like Fall Guys. You all started at the beginning, and then you had to go to the end of this, this route, and it was dangerous, and things knocked you off, or in this case, killed you. And thinking back now, I wonder if the guys who made Fall Guys ever used to play that on Warcraft 3, if they were inspired.
If it was the inspiration, yeah.
Yeah, or if it was just TV shows like Knockout.
I am completely oblivious to this. Is it related to like World of Warcraft and those sort of games?
Yeah, World of Warcraft spun off from it, and like the laws all involved. Although I feel like I'm right in saying that a lot of the sort of interesting story in Warcraft 3 is no longer accurate because of World of Warcraft. I feel like the laws have sort of almost... I know different, but I could be completely wrong. I'm not well read enough on the lore of the thing, but same developers, but there's just a massively multiplayer online game. But you had the races and the things like that. But yeah, it was this idea, I think, again, of a link through a lot of my games, I guess, have been this idea of escapism.
Yeah, well, that's what gaming is, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I think, same. I'm like you. I'm not the most skilled gamer in the world. I'm not going to go to a competition and win any money. And what I want is just to play that game and forget about my worries and stresses.
Exactly, just relax for a couple of hours, or even like half an hour or so, and just forget about what's going on in the world around you and escape into this world. I got a bit frustrated. Me and Lauren listened to a antenatal class person today, and she said, "Are you going to do if your contractions start?" The idea was basically she was saying you don't need to start doing anything or worrying, just try and relax. And somebody put their play on the Xbox, and she told them to grow up. They're not a child anymore. And I felt like, and then she goes, you need to get into Grey's Anatomy because that's the thing to be doing at this age. And I was just thinking, like, no, both are escapism. Both have exactly the same reasons for enjoying them. Hate someone just because they enjoy playing on the game and not watching a TV show. It's the same sort of thing.
Gaming, it's losing it, year by year, the amount of money it makes, I guess. But there's still this snobby outlook towards it, isn't there, from certain people who enjoy certain things, that it's, somehow childish, when actually, like I say, you look at The Last of Us, it's up there with any TV show or film I've seen in recent years.
Well, the fact that they try and develop some of these games, because HBO are developing a Last of Us TV show. The fact that they're doing this shows that the games warrant the stories to be told in different medium for different people to see them.
To go to even older gaming, things like Dungeons and Dragons, like a lot of the fantasy books I read are so clearly and so heavily inspired by people who clearly used to play Dungeons and Dragons. And they've gone on to become big and important shows as well in their own right. Right. So Warcraft 3 for all those reasons and many, many more.
Yeah, I apologise. I couldn't really get involved too much in discussion because I've never played any Warcraft media. But no,
that's okay.
I think that's a fair choice for liking it in the way you do. Like you say, if it seems to have been the inspiration for as many games as you think it is, then yeah, it definitely deserves to be up there. Right.
So you're number one.
My number one. definitely, I feel, a bizarre choice to be picking for number one.
Have I played it?
So, because you've got my copy of it currently.
No, it is PlayStation.
Yeah, because you actually thought that you owned the game. And that I hadn't lent it to you. So my number one is Spider-Man on the PS4. I think it's a bizarre choice to be putting up there, but I have never enjoyed a game so much as I did when I first got this. I played it literally non-stop, start to finish. Only game I've 100% completed on the PS4, including all the DLC. So I think that shows that it must be one of my top games. And
definitely.
I've got
Was it the... I remember playing a Spider-Man on the PS2.
Spider-Man 2.
And... yeah,
that'd be definitely your memory that you got playing it on the PS2.
And I remember the most enjoyable was just literally swinging through the city. Was it the same on this as well? Was that?
Yeah, it was like part? You had so much fun doing it. No, it wasn't my favourite part. It was an enjoyable part of it, but it was so much fun swinging through the city. I do completely agree with that. Just randomly stopping all the fights and the military coming in and all that sort of stuff. The side quests were really interesting. They weren't just put on there. They were actually interesting stories, some leading into the DLC that we got for it. The story, in my opinion, is the top Spider-Man media, apart from like comics and stuff like that. TV, film, and games. It's the best Spider-Man story we've ever had. It was a really interesting one. It made me cry at the end without spoiling anything. I won't say what it is, but it was just so good, and I really hope we see more of this version of Spider-Man.
Well, I think, although I've not played too much of it, all I've heard is positive things. And again, I think that idea, leans into that sandbox, doesn't it? Where you've got, like Grand Theft Auto, you've got the main missions, but you can just swing around or drive around in these worlds. And that's sometimes it's your own, again, a bit like Foot Manager, I guess it's your own narratives. You swinging around and seeing a fight that you broke up makes you feel like a superhero, doesn't it? I think you can try and make you feel a certain way with the game, but it's only with those moments where it's your choice as a player that makes you feel that sort of way. And to make someone feel like a superhero in this day and age, I think is difficult from a gaming point of view.
Yeah.
So to make you feel that way with that freedom, I think that's what I remember from playing the little bit that I have is was so powerful from my point.
The freedom was fantastic in the game, and it was just voice acting, like you got to play as Mary Jane, which were possibly the worst bits, but still a bit different, and you got to play as
Sexist?
Miles. It was sneaking around missions, and I'm not the biggest fan of them.
Missions.
Yeah,
which is ironic because I picked The Last of Us, which is a lot of stealth.
And like one of my favourite, not included in any of these, but I do enjoy Assassin's Creed games. But my worst bit about them is the stealth bits that you got to do, especially at the beginning where you got to follow someone from high on a rooftop in a lot of them. Like actually the early games, and I just want to get on with it. I can't be bothered with sneaking around. But
there's a lot of games like that, isn't there? Where you've got to, and you keep too far away or not.
Exactly, you're getting too close. Yeah. But in fact, I think even Spider-Man has a bit of that, but it's a lot more fun when you're playing the Spider-Man swinging through the air. No, it was a really good game, really enjoyable. If you've not played it yet, highly recommend it. I'm still yet to play the sequel the mini sequel they've done, Miles Morales.
Miles Morales, yeah.
But
have you seen Into the Spider-Verse, the film?
Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of the best superhero films I've seen.
Second favourite Spider-Man media.
Watch first. Oh, do you mean the game?
This one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not including the comics or anything when I say media. But yeah, that's my number one. And I think a lot of people would be surprised that, because don't get me wrong, there are better games out there. But the fact that, obviously, I enjoyed it so much, it's the only game I've 100% completed. I think there's no way it can't be up there.
I think that's what's good about us doing top fives of things, though. It's like, we're never going to be an expert on anything. You know what I mean? We're not sort of games journalists who are doing a top 5 games. We're just normal people. Blokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to films?
Well, I feel like we need to end the podcast first.
Oh, wait, is it just going to be podcast 1 is going to be games, then podcast 2 is going to be movies?
Otherwise, podcast one will be about 2 hours long, because we're already on hour 15.
Oh, well then.
Yeah. Is this our outro? So, by the way, join us for next week when our topic is going to be top 5 films.
I hope that if we do carry on doing this, that we get more professional as we go on, because
I'd like to hope so, because I won't.
I
I'll be
also
honest.
think
the ending for that was a bit shoddy. I go, so that was my favourite. Right, should we crack on with next one then? Well, I hope you enjoyed it, everyone. Those are our top 5 games. Do message in and say whether you agree or not. And join us next week.
Lauren, your wife, and Shauna, my fiance, who are probably going to be the only 2 people listening to this first one, and hopefully Jonathan, fingers crossed. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, cheers. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, everyone.